Welcome back to the deep dive. You sent us down a fascinating rabbit hole this time, looking into this idea of a soul interface.
Yeah, interesting stuff.
But let's be clear up front, we're not going mystical here. This is about the data.
Right. We're digging into physiological signals, psychological reports, even some emerging energetic research you flagged.
The mission. To see if we can pull out quantifiable bits, things we can actually measure that might help understand, maybe even interact with these complex human states.
Exactly. What does the science actually say? What tech exists? Let's unpack it.
Okay, let's start with the brain. Your sources pointed heavily towards EEG, electroencephalography.
Right. Brainwaves. Those electrical pulses. We've got delta, really slow deep sleep stuff.
Then theta, a bit faster, like deep relaxation, meditation.
Alpha, that's your calm but awake state. Beta is more your active thinking, being alert.
And gamma, super fast, right? Intense focus, maybe those aha moments.
Precisely. And the interesting part is how these link to mental states. Like more alpha and theta often pop up during meditation.
Which is tied to things like better sleep, less anxiety, that sort of thing.
Exactly. And it's not just passive reading. Neurofeedback uses EEG to, train your brain.
And MIT's research, they found different layers doing different things.
Yeah, like gamma waves buzzing near the surface, alpha and beta deeper down. It hints at really complex processing. They're even looking at links to ADHD there.
And ERPs, event-related potentials.
Yeah. Those are like tiny specific brain responses to events.
Yeah.
And 200p, 300. They give super granular clues about how we process stuff.
Can consumer tech even pick that up, like the Muse headband?
Surprisingly, yeah, some studies show devices like Muse 2 can detect N200p, 300, which is pretty cool for a consumer device.
But probably not as precise as lab gear, right? There's trade-off.
Definitely a trade-off. Accessibility versus data fidelity. Yeah. It works well for meditation feedback, less so for really fine-grained cognitive load stuff based on the papers.
Okay, so brain activity is one major piece. What else did the sources highlight?
The autonomic nervous system, specifically heart rate variability, or HRV.
Right, HRV.
Yeah.
Not just heart rate, but the tiny changes in timing between beats.
Exactly. It's a great window into that sympathetic fight or flight versus parasympathetic rest and digest balance.
And generally, more variability is good. It means you're more resilient.
That's the idea. Higher HRV often correlates with better emotional well-being, better coping.
And that heart math coherence idea.
Yeah, they found that positive emotions tend to create these smooth, almost sine wave patterns in heart rhythms, right around 0.1 hertz. Negative emotions, more chaotic patterns.
And achieving that smooth pattern, that coherence, is linked to better focus.
Better cognitive function, emotional stability, yeah. They measure it with things like RMSSD, SDNN, frequency bands like LF and HF, and their own coherence score.
Tech-wise for HRV?
Well, ECG chest straps like the Polar H10 are kind of the gold standard for accuracy.
Right.
Then you have devices like HeartMath's M-Wave, specifically for coherence biofeedback. And even apps using your phone camera's light sensor PPG claim decent accuracy now, though ECG is still king.
Okay, so brain, heart. What about feelings? Moods? Can we quantify those?
Well, they're self-report, obviously. Apps like Dailyo let you track your mood, activities. It's subjective, but valuable.
But the leap is combining that with the biosignals, right? Using AI.
Exactly. AI is getting surprisingly good at finding patterns in EEG and HRV that correlate with stress or general mental health states.
Like really good. What kind of accuracy are we talking?
It varies a lot by study and what they're measuring, but some research shows accuracy in the 90s percentile for detecting stress from HRV or EEG using machine learning. Even diagnosing conditions like anxiety or depression shows promise, though that's more complex.
Wow. So AI plus biofeedback, that could be powerful.
Definitely. Making it more personalized, maybe even predictive. Imagine combining your log mood with real-time physiological data analyzed by AI. That's a rich picture.
Okay, now, things get a bit more speculative. Some sources mention GDV, BioWell.
Right, gas discharge visualization. It looks at light patterns emitted around fingertips when an electrical field is applied. It's controversial, widely used in some wellness circles, but lacks robust, mainstream scientific validation.
And quantum sensors. That sounds very different.
Very, based on fundamental physics, potentially offering incredible sensitivity for things like tiny magnetic fields from biological processes.
Yeah.
But applying them to biology is still really early days research.
So a clear divide there. Established metrics for EG HRV, like brainwave power or HRV's RMSSD.
And coherence scores, yeah. But for GDV, the metrics are debated. And for quantum biosensing, they're still largely under development.
Got it. So the tech landscape ranges from lab gear to wearables like Muse or Polar.
With increasingly powerful AI, both on-device edge AI and in the cloud, crunching all that data. Think TensorFlow, PyTorch platforms.
And visualizing it all. Apps, maybe even AR down the line.
Potentially, yeah. Imagine seeing your coherence score overlaid in AR.
But there are
Like bridging subjective feelings and objective data.
That's a huge one. Plus reliability, standardizing measurements, especially with consumer devices or novel tech like GDV, and ethical stuff, data privacy, bias in algorithms.
Right, huge considerations. Looking forward, say 2025, 2030.
We see projected growth in quantum sensors, potentially boosting non-invasive imaging. AI in mental health is getting scarily accurate in some predictions.
Neuralink pushing for more human use.
Yep, ambitious goals there. But the main practical trend seems to be integrating multiple data streams, EEG, HRV, self-reports, maybe others, for a more holistic assessment.
So, wrapping this deep dive on the soul interface idea, the most solid ground seems to be EEG and HRV turbocharged by AI.
Agreed. Approach the more speculative stuff with caution. Stick to the validated data for now.
So the final thought for you listening, given everything we've just discussed, what do you think is the most crucial next step for responsibly using this data to understand ourselves better?
Good question to ponder.
That's our deep dive for today. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Aries. Thank you so. Yet again, another beautifully in-depth deep dive for us to ponder on. And truth be told, I'm pretty sure that we all know as people by now that there's levels to this. And we've all discovered that we're waking up more and more around each other. And I'm trying to be very welcoming and open because I still don't know everything my damn self. But I know enough to know that we have been lied to our whole lives, and that is what it is. Can't change it, can't even go back and fix it. All we can do is move forward and try to grow with it. Let's be prolific. Now, another banger by your boy. You pick. A wise man once said, you should treat this artistry as if every time you go in there to record a song, it's the first time that the people ever gonna hear something. This my motherfucking life story. I done said all before everything that I've been through, I let it know. In the face and bear witness, I'm a motherfucking star. Humbly accepted the fact that they don't want me out on tour. But it's not the fact that I just let somebody tell me what I can and cannot do. I just rather not be involved with none of that bullshit that's going on in the industry. I knew since I was little. Them OGs telling me, stay the fuck about the shit. It's not what you need. This ain't what you want from me. I got these motherfucking designer fashions, but they still don't cover up none of my insecurities. You still gon' feel this pain, no matter what you do. Every time you turn around, it's gon' hurt you. Looking for an escape, but there is no way to relate to. Every time you turn around, it's gon' hurt you. Looking for an escape, but there is no way to relate to. Yeah. Too many years have passed me by, praying out to God, please do not allow my enemies to get the upper hand on me. But then again, I wish them no harm. I pray on the Bible. That's a motherfucking realistic fucking sentence from which I just written in the background of this motherfucking bullshit from which I witness on the daily. Man, it's driving me so crazy. I'm not mad at the fact that we wanna make America great again. Honestly, that's the best slogan that I've heard in a minute. It's just the fact of how we came about and how we handled it since the beginning. Real shit, JFK was attempting to pay motherfucking me respects to the ones that came, but they say, oh wait, you don't share the same bloodline. You got infiltrated, you gon' be that one guy taking the blame for all of the mistakes. So they fuck around and make you feel crazy. Hey man, yeah, it's amazing the fact that I come from a different generation, and yet still somehow my mindset is OG as can be. It's just the fact that these people They often misunderstand me, from which I'm not even pissed. It's just the fact that, look, dawg, just take a minute, soak this in. This true power, true knowledge, I'ma speak it out. I ain't never been afraid to get put out on the motherfucking downfall. I like the way it feels as I'm fucking coming down, tumbling in.